Folks, welcome back. I want to take a look at the energies for the USA Collective for this week. Now, I'm not going to always do weekly energy reads, but for the month of March, when all the astrologers on the planet are currently saying this is going to be a fiery month, I do think that it's appropriate, okay? So let's just start with the astrology of the week. Yesterday, I'm filming this on March 2nd, but yesterday on March 1st, Venus started going into retrograde. Now, Venus is currently in the sign of Aries, so this has to do with reconsidering possibly some romantic relationships, very possibly, okay? Maybe not always. Maybe it has something to do when it comes to getting back together with an ex. Maybe you're reconsidering a current partnership that you're in, but it doesn't have to have anything to do with romance at all. It could have something to do with some friendships, the family that you've made, for instance. You may be reflecting, reconsidering, meditating even on the things that you're currently experiencing in your friendships, your deep friendships, as well as the family that you've chosen, if you have family that you've chosen. But this is to do with relationships with everybody. Venus also rules diplomacy, so acquaintances that you might be diplomatic with, but not actually be like a diplomat, okay? But if you have, there may be some old tensions that may arise with some people that you work with, for instance, because Venus partially has to do with money, and a lot of us, the vast majority of us, have to go to work in order to get that money. So there may be some underlying tensions that pop up that need to be carefully looked at. By the way, Venus in retrograde lasts until April 12th. And after the planet transits out of Aries, rolls back from Aries, it will roll back into Pisces. So that'll be when we start to think about some dreams that maybe we wish had been fulfilled, but weren't. This is definitely the time for sex with your ex, as the astrology report says. This is the time for us to reconsider what makes us comfortable, and it does have to do with money. But if money isn't that much of a concern for you, then it may be considering your daily routine. What about your daily routine needs to be overhauled to make you more comfortable? What about the things that you value when it comes to making your material body comfortable need to be reconsidered? You might find yourself changing some habits to ones that make you more comfortable. Or you might be considering changing your work habits that have made you uncomfortable. If your work-life balance is out of whack, this is the time to say, what can I do to bring the life side of my existence, make it more comfortable? And that might mean that you reconsider what you do at work and how often you work overtime, for instance, in order to make yourself more comfortable. Because ultimately, we're not going to think about that one more dollar that we could have earned when we're on our deathbeds, okay? If we want to get really morbid about it, if you want to. What really, really matters is that we made ourselves, part of what matters is that we made ourselves comfortable, that we didn't sacrifice our bodies to something that wasn't attainable. I hope that makes sense. That's the major astrology transit that we've got for this current week. Later on this month, part of why I want to do it weekly energy looks is because there's more astrology coming down the pipeline. So in light of how it's retrograde season for Venus, normally I do tarot first and then oracle cards second, but today I'm going to do oracle cards first. Today we're working with the Claves Astrologica de Iris Sacra by Tina Gong from Labyrinthos. And we're just going to use these as oracle cards. I love them because you can use them as flashcards if you're learning astrology, or you can use them to look at the energy of the week. So we're going to do that. We're going to look at these through the energy of the week. And what happens here is I shuffle until Spirit asks me to stop, and we've already got a card flying out. And isn't that interesting? I have Pisces that just flew out. Now, we have a lot of energy in Pisces right now. Just a few days ago, the new moon was in Pisces, and I believe the sun, I know for a fact the sun is in Pisces, and we've got a couple of other planets also transiting through Pisces, so this is a very dreamy season. I know that Neptune is also transiting through Pisces, and that's a sign that the planet is, Neptune is very comfortable in the sign of Pisces because that's its personal zodiac sign, if that makes any sense. So time of great dreams, idealistic, getting to relax, going with the flow. This is definitely the time to be going with the flow. When it's not just going to be Venus that's retrograde this month, we're going to have a Mercury retrograde this month too. So, and that's not even touching on all the astrology that's going on this month. So this month and this week, be sure to go with the flow. And if you can bring about an aspect of yourself that dreams easily, then pay attention, and play is what I just slipped out of my mouth. So definitely find time to play if you can. I understand that you're probably going through a lot. And what we have going on in the news cycle is a whole lot. Go with the flow. Do justice in the areas that you can personally affect justice in. But otherwise, let it go. This is the season of letting things go because the universe is moving things in a direction that ultimately will benefit all of us. This is not the time to hold on tightly to things, but also be cautious of illusions, if you will. This is the time to sweep those old things away, especially with Venus being in retrograde. There may be some beliefs that you're holding about romantic partnerships, your friendships, the family that you've chosen, your family, your actual family, that need to be, some myths that need to be busted about those particular connections. And this is the good time to bust illusions with your sacred intuition. Pisces is also a deeply loving, compassionate, intuitive sign. So there may be some things that the sign of Pisces needs to teach you. Pisces is also associated with the 12th house, which is about the deepest parts of ourselves, the most karmic parts of ourselves, that for some of us, this might be the last incarnation that we are in before we hit nirvana, before we are absorbed into everything, into source permanently forever, never to be incarnated again. Both just an interesting concept, but for some of us that might be quite scary. This is the time to contemplate spiritual matters. We are in the sign of Pisces right now. A lot of planets are. I know I've already said that. But this is the time to allow our spiritual aspects to flow and grow. So here we've got the sign of Capricorn, earthy and watery energy. Be grounded in your dreams. This is about having like a practical side to your dreams, for instance. This is also about working hard and working carefully. Now, the goat mermaid, the fish, interesting, the fishy goat also has a scythe. So Capricorn is associated with the planet Saturn, and that's about loss. That's about the ends of things that no longer served us. I respect that it might be a difficult time to let go of some things, especially with Venus retrograde. You may be having to end some relationships and partnerships that flat out do not work anymore. But ending those partnerships is for your best and your highest good. And Capricorn has a hard edge to it. You are going to need to be what may appear to be heartless to other people when it comes to cutting specific energies, specific people out of your life who are no longer serving you and maybe even harmful to you. This is the time to set those energies down, set those people down, and walk away and say, this is the end of an era. There are dreams that I want to accomplish, and I can't accomplish them if I don't let go of you or if I don't let go of these energies first. Okay? So Spirit says one more, and that's it. We have the first quarter moon. So that's about taking a look at what's already come in the past, readjusting those plans, and getting ready for what we've got left of, first quarter. What we've got left of this particular moon cycle. So first quarter is about heading on towards the full moon from the new moon. So we just had a new moon in Pisces when I was filming this. So this is about being grateful for what we've accomplished so far, but also readjusting any plans, putting final touches on plans before they come to fruition. So there may be people who are standing in your way when it comes to relationships, people who are close to you, and letting them go is going to be the best thing possible. But I understand that is easier said than done. A lot of people, like you, may have some very deep attachments to people that you know no longer serve you, but it's the nostalgia that keeps you close to them, keeps them close to you, and makes it so that it's difficult for you to let go of them. If you can find your way towards gradually saying enough is enough, I need to put distance between you and myself, that's going to be for the best. For some of you, ghosting this particular person or these people may be for the best, but for other people, being assertive and saying, this isn't what I need anymore, and it's time for me to let you go. I wish you the best, but this is where it ends. That's going to be a lot more difficult for some other people to say. Now, if you are a Capricorn, if you have heavy Capricorn placements, that may not be as difficult to explicitly say as it might be for someone who is in the sign of Pisces, okay? Take it as it resonates, but there are some really neat things up ahead, and transforming yourself, allowing these current circumstances, flowing with these current circumstances to transform you, is what you need to do in order to accomplish what you want to do. Not just what you are here on earth to do, but what you want to do as well. So we've got quite a bit going on this week already, and I wouldn't be surprised. March is a very busy month. So, yeah, we start this month in the sign of Pisces, a watery energy, and then we leave this month in the sign of Aries, a very fiery, me first, we're going to get this done right now kind of energy, okay? So we'll talk more about the rest of this month towards, when we get there, okay? So, what I want to do next is transition into the tarot reading for this particular week. I am working with the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann, and I'm about to put in reversals. There we go. And the reversals go, and once again I shuffle until Spirit asks me to stop. Let's look at the bottom. Ace of Swords, it's in reverse, very much in line with the Venus Retrograde, reconsidering some things that we may have said, that we may have thought either about ourselves or about other people in our lives. So Spirit is leading me to do a Celtic cross for this particular week. It might be different week to week, but definitely this is the time to hang back and keep quiet. If it's not reconsidering something that we've said, it may be keeping quiet about some plans that we want to push forward in the future. We're keeping them to ourselves. We're not explicitly talking about them with people just yet. And the challenging energy that we've got right here is the King of Swords in reverse. This is about being in a leadership role, but not having the mental or emotional energy to really handle it. The King of Swords is air on fire energy. So along with this particular month, which is a very fiery month, this is someone who may be taking too much action, who may have been doing too much. And now we need to kind of apologize, admit that we have been humbled, even humiliated ourselves, that we've got egg on our faces. This is the time to try to make amends and say, I was wrong, I fucked up. I did something that should have not been done. I said something that I should not have said. This is about backtracking, something that I would expect to see with Venus in retrograde. And later on, we will have Mercury in retrograde. In the past, we have the Eight of Cups. Now, this is very interesting. This is about having walked away from something that we had a great emotional attachment to. Here we come with the Venus once again. Venus absolutely is comfortable in the Cups signs. Not just the fiery signs, okay? But this is quite possibly a relationship that wasn't expired yet. We took off, or we said something that separated us from them, and now it's time to apologize, to reconsider the things that we said that should not have been said. More Cups energy in the Page of Cups. This is in the conscious position above the Ace of Swords. There's still some affection here. There's still some youthful hope for this particular love going on right here. I'm wondering if I'm not speaking to someone who is on the young side. And maybe you're not actually young, but maybe you are emotionally young, spiritually young, mentally young even. And this is a learning experience for you when it comes to this particular romantic partnership, quite possibly maybe a very close friendship, like best friends, for instance. We've got the Star. This is a time of healing. This is a time to looking to the universe for what steps to take on next, because the Star follows the Tower, about the crashing down of a foundation that needed to come down, as painful as it may be. So I'm getting that this person may still has some feelings for this particular relationship, but at the same time, after everything that was said, you've got here the Star. This is a time of healing, and you're apologizing, or they're apologizing, making amends is what will bring about that healing. And the universe is definitely guiding you to do this, or is encouraging you to do this. This lands in the unconscious position underneath the Ace of Swords in reverse, which gives me the sensation that you feel this is the right thing to do, but it may be hard. Now, here's the thing. When it's a major arcana thing, it's a major life lesson for you to make that apology, to make those amends, that you may have said something, or something was said. It may not have been you. Something was said to have cracked a relationship, to have split apart a relationship that wasn't meant to be split apart, at least in that particular way. Maybe it wasn't serving you anymore, but on the other hand, maybe it was serving to teach you a lesson, and healing the relationship with kind words, an apology, is the way to go. And I've got the Four of Pentacles, keeping cards close to your chest, keeping resources close to your chest. So, yeah, there may be more lessons to learn about sharing the resources that you have, and maybe it's not a good thing to share resources. Maybe it's a good time to keep an eye on resources. I'm wondering if this particular relationship demanded more of you than you could give. So in that case, it wasn't serving you, but you may have had some harsh words that weren't the right things to say, and the relationship that wasn't supposed to be split, but not on good terms. So apologizing, still saying there's some feelings here for you, but I need to take care of myself. I need to grow something out of these pentacles that I'm keeping close to my chest is the best way to go. And maybe perhaps staying split up for the moment is the best thing to do. Keep in mind that Venus retrograde, especially in Aries, can be I got the word claustrophobic. Interesting. So there may need to be a loosening of relationships if you tend to be clingy even. This is the time to let go, to release something. It's interesting that I said clingy. This particular person is clinging onto a purse, and the future may involve you learning to let go of resources and not being so clingy, being so tight-fisted with those resources. I'm getting from Spirit to take heart in the idea that there is plenty to go around, and that you don't need to hold on to your resources with such a tightly clenched fist, that you can let go. This may be about letting this person into your life a little bit more closely because you're someone who prefers to keep people out because it doesn't feel safe for you to let them in. Take it as it resonates. Your advice card is Temperance, bringing things into balance because the universe is asking you to bring things into balance. There's a higher path that you are meant to take with this particular card, and when you bring things into balance, also it's interesting with the Thoth card, I know that I'm not using the Thoth Tarot, but with the Thoth Tarot, this is also known as art, about the Empress and the Emperor bringing their energies together to make something beautiful and new. I'm kind of getting that image also alongside this, that working together with this particular person might be the best way to go in bringing about something that you didn't expect to be so good and so beautiful. Would be good for both your and their best and highest selves. But it's definitely about alchemy, taking from one cup and from another cup to bring together something new that can nourish both. The current environment is the Knight of Wands, going alongside that Venus retrograde in Aries energy, a very fiery energy about taking action. Now, I know that this is kind of a teenager-ish kind of energy that we've got right here. I associate the Page of Cups with a more childlike energy. This is saying, I'm going to be rebellious and I'm going to go my own way and dance to the beat of my own drum. And it's in the upright position. This is fire on air energy with the Knight of Wands. So definitely about doing first and thinking second, something that we would associate with someone who's in their teen or very young adult years. So right now, you're flying free, you're doing what the hell you want, when the hell you want to do it, and it feels nice. It feels nice to blaze away from these particular individuals. Or this particular person. Be careful when it comes to the words that you say. If you've not already said some things, or said some things that weren't supposed to have been said, be careful about being in this particular energy. This is about turning the evil eye away from you. If you make amends sooner rather than later, you can celebrate with a clean conscience. But right now I see that it just feels good to get away from this particular individual. So maybe indeed this relationship was not meant to be. Y'all still had some things to learn from each other, but at the same time it was time for this to expire. Just not the way that things were said. Now, here's what's going on in your hopes and your fears. This is the Justice card. It is in reverse. So keep in mind that Justice, that karma, is watching and recording what is said, what is done to yourself, to other people, for instance. This is something that you both hope for and fear. I wonder what it kind of goes alongside this Temperance card. There's this balancing of the scales that you might be afraid of because you're afraid of the consequences of the words that you've said. You're afraid of how you broke up or ended the relationship with this particular person. This is where making the amends now is good in the long run. Temperance isn't saying that you have to work with this person in the long term. It just says that you need to learn a lesson from them in the moment. And that's when you can propel yourself further down the path towards your highest good, possibly separate from this person if indeed that this relationship was meant to be fractured apart. I'm getting energies from at least like two versions of this relationship. One, the relationship was ended too early and was not meant to be broken apart. Two, the other kind of relationship was no longer serving you, but it ended on a negative note, due to possibly your words or somebody else's words, okay? Last and not least, we've got the Hierophant. So quite a few major arcana cards in this particular spread. The Hierophant is about the universe, possibly a spiritual leader that you're connected to. It's about your ancestors, your deities, leading you on a path towards growing spiritually, down a spiritual path. This is the month with all this fiery energy that ideally you are supposed to be accepting the holy fire and using that to grow yourself into someone who's an incredible role model, if not a spiritual leader in your own right. You don't need to be a priest, a priestess, a pastor, an imam, or whatever, a rabbi, whatever it may be, in order to be your own spiritual leader, in order to be an example for other people to say, I want what that person what that person has. So I feel like I'm speaking to someone who might be on the younger side of the age scale, someone who hasn't experienced life that much, especially when it comes to romantic relationships, when it comes to spirituality. And this is an opportunity this week to change course, make amends, apologize for how things ended, be explicit that that was a learning experience for you and that you don't want to be that way again. And justice, temperance, and the Hierophant will smile on that. Now, I note that we've got, this is how I read the Celtic Cross. I take the advice card, the future card, and the outcome card, and we kind of give a roadmap for how to reach towards your best and your highest good from there. So it's not always about, you don't have to keep your cards close to your chest. You don't have to be selfish about where your heart lies, about being explicit about where your heart lies in order to bring balance to a particular situation. This is about choosing to share, choosing to be vulnerable, and that might be something that you struggle with. I'm getting that Capricorn. We pulled up the Capricorn earlier in the Claves Astrologica Oracle deck, and you might have some really heavy Capricorn energy somewhere in your birth chart. If you aren't a Capricorn sun or a moon or a Venus or a Mercury or something like that, you might have some really heavy Capricorn energy, and being vulnerable, I know, is something that's difficult for Capricorns to be. So this might be a learning lesson for you, and it doesn't mean that you are on the younger end of the age spectrum at all. You can be an older individual and still have to learn the vulnerability lesson. And quite frankly, that's something that a lot of us have to learn. You are not alone in that particular boat. Your Chiron may also be in Capricorn, so struggling with vulnerability and feeling like your back is always exposed no matter what you do may be something that you struggle with. Okay? So that's the energy for this particular week. So I was going to basically use this energy from the 2nd of March until the 8th of March, and then we'll pick up again on the following Sunday. In any case, this is definitely about relationships and making amends where they need to be made. And in some cases, it's about reconsidering some relationships that maybe ended too soon. Okay? With that in mind, thank you for watching all the way to the end. I appreciate your time and your energy. I hope you have a great day. Take care.